Hey guys, JSimLady here. Today I am finishing up the double duplex in Foundry Cove neighborhood of Willow Creek. Let's get into it. So first up, we are starting with Liberty's side of the duplex. I think her name is Liberty. I keep forgetting their names and it's ridiculous and annoying, but I keep forgetting their names and I think it's Liberty. Liberty has been the bane of my Sims existence in the long legacy. If you haven't watched that yet, you definitely should. It's been a slow, tedious let's play. I'm trying to find the perfect time to do a recap. And I think now might be the time because I just moved them into the next generation's house. So we've moved on from matriarch to Gen 1, I guess. I don't really know what to call it. Gen 2? I don't know. Does the matriarch count or patriarch if you have a patriarch? Do they count as Gen 1? I don't know. Regardless, we're moving on to the next generation. I just moved them into their home. So now might be the actual perfect time to kind of do a recap of the series and then you can start from there. But Liberty has been the bane of my Sims existence. I started that save file right after, like, literally after Life and Death came out, or right around the time Life and Death came out. And my sim, Liberty, died shortly after I started the series, and my sim has been grieving her ever since. It just doesn't stop. It's so annoying. I think it's a glitch, but I gotta say at this point, Liberty is my most hated character in The Sims 4. I will not hold a grudge in the all pack save file though. I'm giving her a fun and funky apartment to live in. So Liberty's a bit of a weird case in that her aesthetic and her bio that they gave her don't really match her personality all that well. Like, if they'd have given her a nerdy, sort of genius personality, but also had her liking some fun and funky stuff, or being like a goofball, so being a bookworm and being a genius, but then also being a goofball, I could see it. But they gave her a very kind of one dimensional personality, which does not, again, at all match the bio that they wrote for her. And it doesn't match her aesthetic and it doesn't really match her My Sim character completely. I mean, it kind of does, but kind of not from what little I know about the My Sims. And in case you didn't know, the BFFs, at least from what I've heard, are based on My Sim characters. So, yeah, I decided to kind of take inspiration from her clothing and go really fun and funky with it. We've got lots of bright colors, lots of geometric patterns, but also some fun and abstract, nonsensical stuff as well. I leaned heavily into the fact that these Sims are fresh out of cast, young adult, just starting their young adult path or life stage, I guess, when you start up the game. And I leaned very heavily into that with Liberty. And in some areas, I kind of gave it a Y2K vibe a little bit because I feel like that's Liberty's sort of aesthetic, if you will. So I leaned into that a little bit here and there as well. But I just tried to keep it very bright and colorful and happy and I don't know, fun and playful, I guess. I just went very playful with it. And I really took my time, as you can tell from the speed build. I really took my time with her apartment, like I did the family apartment in the other duplex on this lot. I didn't mean for the two middle ones to be like the most focused on. It's just the way it happened. Either way, it'd be a weird pattern. But like the family one, I spent a little more time on the family because I felt the family apartment, they cared about having a cozy, calm, aesthetically pleasing, like they're into decorating and stuff. I kind of felt like, but also they have a young child and they, safety first kind of thing. So I was going all in on that. And for Liberty, I'm just going all in on the fun aspect. Whereas with, oh, I forgot his name again, Travis, I think. I was leaning heavily into that single bachelor. And to me, okay, so here's how I would explain it. I would not necessarily say I'm a maximalist or that any of these Sims living in this double duplex are maximalists. But I would definitely say that I leaned slightly more towards maximalism for liberties. And like if it's on a scale of 1 to 10, for maximalist being 10 and minimalist being 1, liberties is kind of like a 5. She's not maximalist, but she's not minimalist either. And I was kind of going for that mid-range while being fun and funky. Whereas the family, maybe a 5.5 or even approaching 6 on the almost approaching maximalist side of things, just to even out the fact that Travis's apartment is very sparse. Like, if one is absolute minimalism, Travis is like a 3. His apartment, and you can go back and watch that speed build, it's the one right before this one, but his apartment is very stereotype, minimalist, bachelor, messy kind of person vibes, right? And when we get into Summer's apartment, which is coming up in just a second here, you'll also see that for hers, I leaned into the more jock, leaving lots of space open for exercising, kind of near minimalist sort of vibe as well. So yeah, I did a variety, but I didn't go full on maximalist with any of them. I'm working on it. I know it's the thing these days. I grew up with maximalism being hugely popular. It was a bit overwhelming. And not that I didn't like having lots of colorful stuff, because that I absolutely like. And I like having colorful spaces and things. Like if I had to choose between all 4 of these apartments that I made, I would definitely gravitate more towards Liberty's apartment because I like fun and colorful stuff. So in that way, I like maximalism, but I don't like a lot of stuff around. I don't like to have big, froofy lamps with tons of knickknacks around them on my end tables. I have one end table in my living room. And my boyfriend just uses that to like set cups on, to set his TV remote on and stuff. There's no lamp on it. It kind of sits in the middle of the floor, so we can't put a lamp on it. And it's like a slightly oversized stool that he can just use to put drinks on the TV remote on. And then we have a coffee table, and that's it, other than the TV stand, which I'm kind of leaning towards maximalism on because I've got lots of plants and pictures and things like that on, but I like to keep uncluttered. And maybe that's just my age and when I grew up and having lots of kids around for so many years, the house gets very, very cluttered and not in a fun way. When you have small children, toddlers, and preschoolers and stuff, there's lots of stuff involved. A lot of stuff. And so, yeah. But I don't like minimalism either because I grew up in hospitals and doctors' offices as well. And that kind of aesthetic reminds me of that. It reminds me of that kind of sterile, uninviting, uncomfortable hospital, doctor's office, clinic vibes. And I don't like that either. So if I had to put a fine point on it, I'd say I'm halfway in between. Neither maximalist nor minimalist, and I say this in all of my videos because I know that none of my builds are very popular because I don't lean into that maximalist vibe that everybody likes. And I'm okay with that, honestly. I'm fine with not having popular builds because this is my style, this is what I like, and yeah. So anyways, we are on Summer's apartment now, and I very much left lots of open space for her for exercising and stuff like that. And I also kind of leaned more towards she's also not a decorator and doesn't care how her house is decorated. She basically just moved in with the paint colors that the landlord gave her. For the most part, I do change her bedroom, but the rest of the house remains the same. Unlike the other apartments where I kind of changed things a little bit, except Liberty's. Actually, now that I think about it, Liberty's paint colors all stayed the same, and I just kind of leaned into that for her decorating because it kind of worked with it, honestly. I didn't even think about that at the time, but it kind of works with it. Summers doesn't. She did paint her bedroom because she prefers a dark spot to sleep in. She's very active. She goes hard during the day, so she needs a dark, comfortable space to sleep in at night so she can get lots of rest, and that's about all she cares about. A space to exercise in the living room, especially for bad weather days, and then a dark, cozy spot to sleep in at night. She does have her little exercising room there also for bad weather days, but I see Summer as being very outgoing, and I think she would prefer going to the gym to exercise regularly rather than doing it alone at home. So, yeah, that's kind of the feeling that I went with for her. And we are pretty much done with the speed build, so we can get to the walkthrough in just a minute here. And there we go. Okay, so as you could see with this video, I did go in and add, what are these called? Mailboxes and trash cans. I also added this for a little decorative piece for the neighborhood, just to add in a little something to kind of spruce up this neighborhood area a little bit. I had some stuff over here from the debug menu as well, but it glitched. It wouldn't load. The lot became corrupted. I had to put a backup lot in here, and I decided not to put the debug stuff back in, or at least not the like neighborhood decoration type debug of the like electrical poles and stuff. So far it's working fine on this lot, so I did add that in as well. I did not decorate any of the front porch as much. There's not a lot of room, and who wants to sit right next to their neighbor while relaxing and hanging out with friends or family, right? It's a little bit weird, right? So I kind of leaned into that sort of real life feeling that you would get and didn't go overboard with the front porches. They're basically just there to make the house look nice from the street. So first up we have Liberty's apartment, and here's a little bit of a better look at her living room and all the fun colors. Little bit of clutter in this one. Probably could have done more, but again, I don't do overly cluttered spaces, overly messy spaces. I kind of like the clean aesthetic. Clean aesthetic, that's not what I meant to say. You know what I'm trying to say? Because I don't. I'm very tired right now. You'll have to forgive me. I did not sleep well last night. But then we have the dining room. Again, I leaned into very colorful and fun vibes. This is definitely more closer to my kind of dining room space with all the different colors here and the kind of funky, kind of modernist almost vibe to it. She did hang up some peel and stick wall tiles to give her kitchen some more color. She is slightly messy, I think, so I made sure to add a little bit of mess to her kitchen there. Her spare room is empty. I guess I could have used it for the chess table and some other stuff like that. But much like with Summer, I feel like Liberty is too outgoing to kind of contain herself in a tiny little interior room of her apartment. I feel like she'd want to be out where the people are. So she goes to the park or she goes to the library to hang out and play chess and read books and stuff. That's kind of what she enjoys doing. And then for this room, since the landlord already had it painted purple, I leaned into that and made it very girly and cutesy and flowery and pink and purple and like this aqua teal blue color. I feel like that fits Liberty's vibe a lot. So if we go over to the final apartment on this lot, we have Summer's bedroom, which is dark and cozy and a great place for a very athletic sim to rest at night and get lots more sleep than I usually get. Kind of a bare bones bathroom because I find bathrooms boring, and that's about all I can think to really put in them and not have them all look the same regardless. You know what I mean? I don't care about small bathrooms. We don't spend much time in them anyways. She does have this one small workout room, but I think she's not gonna spend a lot of time there. She's gonna spend more time at the gym than in that tiny workout room. These dumbbells here are just decorative. You can replace them. They have a set from Adventure Awaits that I think are actually usable. Don't quote me on that because I can't remember, but I think they're usable. But they're huge, and I kind of liked this small random set in the corner here better for the vibe that I was going for. The only main thing that I did differently in her apartment from the others is I gave her a scale to weigh her food. She wants to make sure that she's getting lots of protein and stuff, so I did that. But also, I figure she's not gonna be a TV dinner kind of gal. She's gonna be a fresh fish and salad kind of gal because Health and athletics is very high priority to her. So she's going to cook all her food, so no microwave. And then the living room is kind of minimalist in that I purposely left a huge open space here for her to have plenty of room to do some exercise routines, yoga routines, whatever she wants right here out in the living room. But I did include lots of fun exercising clutter over here, some sports stuff and just some yoga stuff, whatever, you know, is exercise related. I think that would be right up Summer's alley. So I included it. And there you go. We are finally finished with the double duplex lot. Garden Essence. I left the name the same. I could change it to double duplex, but I feel like Garden Essence fits better in the neighborhood. And it's the Foundry Cove neighborhood of Willow Creek. And with this one done, that means we only have one more lot to finish and we will have one whole neighborhood complete. So if you enjoyed this video, if you're enjoying my channel, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!